You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to The Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here on 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, March 17th show. I'm here to help you build a strong financial blueprint, 1 week and one show at a time. If you're hearing my show at a different time, you are listening to a rebroadcast. To connect with the guests that I have on the show today, please call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And in studio right now, Jeff Prescott with Remax Metro Realty. And we're talking today, Jeff, about second home and second home in Mexico. So thank you so much for coming back in studio and bringing this in right as you're coming back from Mexico.
That's correct.
And a little bit about Jeff. Jeff moved from Portland to Seattle in 1986. He arrived without a job, and a friend suggested getting his real estate license. So he decided to take his advice. A year later, in 1987, he earned Rookie of the Year. Now, with Remax Metro, Jeff has over 25 years experience. He's a couple years up on me. He has worked through many economic cycles in his career and is committed to making our housing stock increasingly efficient with energy use and repurposing existing materials for new uses. Jeff regularly provides consultations for his clients on ways to update their home and take advantage of new technologies and maximize their return on investment. Jeff lives in Seattle, Capitol Hill, in a 1910 home, beautiful home. He updated from the bare studs. So he speaks from personal experience. And Jeff, we've been friends for many years. We do a lot of business together, and I just really appreciate you so much, not only as your expertise in the real estate space, but just for the person that you are. So thank you for being here. So Jeff just got back from Mexico, and him and his partner Doug travel to Mexico quite frequently. And so we thought it'd be kind of fun just to talk about second home opportunity and what that might look like in Mexico. So Jeff, why are you looking for a place outside of the U.S.?
Well, one of the main reasons is someplace that's nice and warm, but yet still easy to get back to Seattle. Mm-hmm. And Doug is retired fully now, and looking for time and space for what he can do in some time is also a main reason. And we've been often enough to see the economic and what returns could have done had we purchased a while ago.
Yeah.
So we've kind of educated over time and increased our comfort level with the idea of getting something in Mexico.
So what about the cost of living, Jeff, in Mexico? How's that compare with here in the U.S.?
It's actually very surprising every time I go down that someone's typical, I would imagine, Social Security check will go so far down there. Food costs are far cheaper than they are up here. In farmers markets are almost daily. You can go out to a nice lunch for anywhere from 80 to 120 pesos. That's like $4 or $5.
Wow.
A nice dinner, not super fancy, but a nice dinner, a glass of wine might cost you $10 to $15 a plate. I did have an experience needing medical care down there.
Yes.
And all the pharmacies in Mexico, there's doctors there. So when you go in, you can see a doctor, and that might cost you $10 or $15, and they can even give you stitches or minor, that kind of thing, as well as a full-on medical care, which I needed that one time.
Yes.
So it's very affordable down there based on what we're used to here in the States.
And especially used to right here in Seattle, as I was describing starting out the show. So, Jeff, describe Manzanillo a bit. And did I pronounce that correctly?
Manzanillo.
Thank you so much. That shows you how much time I get to spend there. So, so describe a little bit about that, Jeff.
Well, it's in the southern half of Mexico in the state of Colima. It's actually one of the largest ports on the entire West Coast. So we're including San Diego and San Francisco. It's kind of surprising how large it is. And it's got a population of roughly the general area, about 200,000. So it's big enough. It's got the stuff and the amenities you expect, but yet it's still not a full-on tourist type place, which is
Okay.
not something Doug and I are terribly interested in.
But I think if you were buying a second home, out of the country, you probably wouldn't be wanting to buy in, majority of people possibly.
And there's resorts. If you want
Yeah.
an all-inclusive resort where you have your tennis court and your golf course and all that and condos and stuff, they're certainly available. And they're very nice.
Yeah.
And they'll still cost you maybe $250,000 or less for a big size home.
That's crazy. So, and Jeff, Dave and I were looking possibly picking up something in Ecuador, and when we went there, the biggest challenge, and if we did it, which we are not, but I would have definitely taken Spanish lessons because we couldn't communicate anything, and it was so frustrating. And so, what about how's the language?
Well,
in
I
Mexico?
found a great deal of people do know, if not fluent English, much more than any American knows of any foreign language.
Yeah.
And I did take for the first 6 to 9 months online Duolingo, that darn owl, and got so I could get the basics down. Donde está el baño?
Oh, that sounds good, Jeff. Nice.
And quiero
Impressive.
vino, por favor. I need the bathroom. I want some wine.
Yeah.
Or even shopping. Necesito medio kilo eso, por favor. I just want a little bit of that
Yeah, well,
sort
it
of
seems
stuff.
so fun to actually be able to say that too.
Well, it needs practice. And even the time I've been back, I'm losing a lot. So I do plan on taking a formal course at the Seattle Central
Okay.
and get more hands-on than I am
Yeah.
now.
So a lot more English speaking than what we found in Ecuador, so it makes it easier.
And they appreciated the try, even if mangling. I know I mangle the language, but I'm trying. I can point, pantomime. They laugh at us. We laugh with
so
them.
Awesome.
And it was just it was fun to do it.
So in real estate, as everyone knows about the MLS, multiple listing service here to really make an engine and a place to where all the properties that are coming on the market get listed there, so it makes it really easy. Does Mexico have anything similar to that?
Actually,
or are
not
they back
at
in the
all.
big, huge? Remember before the MLS, because you and I were in the industry, there'd be those big magazines. And,
yes, those magazines.
It was
and
crazy.
that would be a step ahead as those big old magazines. Now, the bigger cities, Guadalajara, Mexico City, Acapulco, some of the bigger ones, are developing their own MLS within their geographic areas.
Okay.
But more or less, it's still who knows who. There's a couple of the big real estate brokers down there, and they have their websites, and they're always checking each other's websites that go on. And however, they have started what's the Asociación Mexicana Profesionales Inmobiliarios.
Good.
Yes, I practiced that, I'll tell you.
So good.
So it's AMPI, and that's a national organization in Mexico where it's a voluntary membership, and the brokers are trying to set up new procedures and set some standards and things.
To have a place where you could access.
To start developing a commonality is what I feel.
Yeah.
And I notice on the websites and the brokers I talk to that it's always prominently displayed that they're AMPI members.
Okay.
And so I see that as the precursor to what will eventually
get
develop into a larger established MLS system.
Got it. So how would someone go about purchasing a property in Mexico?
So it's actually easy, but there are a few steps. One of the big ones is they set up a trust through a Mexican bank, Fideicomiso, and that trust is the bank is the trustee and the buyer is the beneficiary. And it's set up through the Mexican Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the trustee deals with all the paperwork and such. But you as us as the buyer, owner, we still have remodel, and we can sell, and we can inherit or bequest. We have all the rights, but through this trust. It has a 50-year life that is infinitely renewable over time.
So you've talked about, so you can sell the property, you can pretty much do whatever you want with the property. What about the lending, Jeff?
Now, that's where you and you, Tina, and your
Yes.
financial advisor come in. Is lending down there is new. It's almost mostly cash or owner financing.
Okay.
So if you could,
So you're not going to the bank and getting a loan like you would here
not
in the
really
States.
here. We need to get it done here first.
Okay.
And then go down with the cash that's ready.
Understood. So if you could look at doing a cash out refinance on your home here in Seattle or wherever you can get your resources so you can go there to pay cash for the property. Got it.
And even that would be in clumps. So I did some conversation with someone who was interested in accepting 3 yearly $50,000 payments.
Okay. All right.
So having this plan or what you're capable to do with your advisor,
Yes.
and it's not that you necessarily have to come up with an entire amount up front,
Got it.
but chunks over time.
Yep. So, Jeff, is construction similar to what we see in the Puget Sound area or not even close?
Not even close.
Yes.
You don't see a stick of wood down there anywhere. That tropical environment down there, you see the deterioration.
Yes.
It's all concrete and rebar. I watched houses, single-family houses with their beautiful pools, as well as a 15-story building being constructed with this concrete construction technique.
Okay.
And they'll set their posts. I had a note here. Castillos is what they call these posts, and they're scattered around at the appropriate for the house you're building, generally 2 to 4 meters apart. They're rebar surrounded with concrete, and in between, they will fill these with what we would call cinder blocks.
Yes.
Big, heavy, and then at heights of perhaps another 2 to 4 meters or so, they'll put a horizontal piece that becomes the structure. So inside of that is where you could put a window and door. So you need to have your plans in place, because where
Yes.
these castillos, these pillars go, you certainly can't break through. But I watched a 15-story building being constructed with this. It was amazing to see.
You know, and all the passion that Dave has in construction as you do, I bet that would just be amazing to be able to see that. You know, Dave was all over Ecuador and in all the construction and taking a look at how, this and that. And
Yes.
so, yeah, awesome. So is it cheaper or easier to build from scratch or to remodel?
It's actually a lot easier to get something and remodel than it is up front and from scratch. I'm finding, looking around, things tend to be priced in truckloads. You need so much truckload of fill. You need so much truckload of gravel, so much truckload. Truckload seems to be the magic measurement down there. And
maybe you could share a truckload with somebody else that's remodeling as well.
And the thing with remodel is you'll often see the rebar through the roof lines of homes where they build to what they're financially afford. And then the next chunk of change, they just add on to the rebar, and now the second floor goes up.
Interesting.
So it was just a really interesting, fun way and to chat with some of the people as they go through the process.
Well, as we wrap up our time here together with Jeff, I know that that you guys have done a lot of research and really thinking of where is that best place going to be in all areas for good health, cost of living, and a great place to live. And I'd love to leave it with just the lifestyle. How does that make you feel, Jeff?
It's so relaxing.
Yeah.
Our particular area of Santiago, which is north of central Manzanillo, the beach is 3 blocks away.
Yeah.
Beautiful crashing waves and the swimming and the beach life I'm really cut out for, I have to say. I really have to say. That is.
I think we all are, right?
Yeah. 3 blocks to the town for the shopping at the, the fish are there and the meat person there and the veggie person there.
Wow.
And, it was just a change of life that was amazing. It was really comfortable.
Well, I hate to see that, sometime we may lose you here at some point of time, but
That ain't going to happen too soon. So.
okay. All right. Good. Well, if you have any questions for Jeff and you want to get connected, get his connections that he's made and his expertise that he's made in trying to find that perfect home for him and Doug, you can call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And Jeff, thanks again for coming into the studio. And what a great conversation. I can kind of I'm visualizing it right now here as we're looking out outside at our beautiful weather, but just having a place in Mexico sounds beautiful.
Thank you.
Coming up next in the Money Hour, speak powerfully and have your voice heard. Dee Gupta with Dee Coaching right here on 1150 AM KKNW after this short break.